Live. Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to another special edition of Smart Love. This is the Good Thursday edition. Super excited about this topic. Today, we're talking about the war on Black love. I got my good men coming back. I got a special guest for you as well. We're really going to dive into this topic that is so near and dear to my heart, and I'm just really excited. So I'm not gonna hold you all up, but let me share my screen one moment. Okay, just wanted to share a couple things with you all before we jump right. Okay. So, as I mentioned, our topic today is the war on Black love. Okay. And I truly believe that this conversation is the beginning of many conversations that we need to have as Black men and women. And it's going to help us to start to heal some of the wounds that will bring us closer together as a unit. There are so many factors that have led to this war on Black love. And if we can figure out how we could come together and win, we will be much stronger together. So that's what this is all about. Just a quick little introduction about Smart Love. So, Smart Love Inc. is a platform that I've created for like minded men and women to come together to discuss real life relationship topics. We're going to learn from each other's experiences. And overall, our goal is to inspire true love in relationships today. We want to be transparent, we want to share information with each other and really just make real connections with like minded people. So, my focus on every single show that I do and the people that I bring on is really just focusing on teaching the art of love and feminine and masculine roles in nurturing relationships. This is a quote by Angela Davis. I thought I fixed this. I guess I didn't. The breakdown of the Black family is due to our economic system of capitalism, which emphasizes profits over people, and our political system of racism and cronyism. That's a quote by Angela Davis. So, with the impact of slavery and discrimination, there's been so much negativity that has caused the instability of Black families in America. The statistics and trends related to dating, marriage, and divorce among Black African Americans show that Black men and women face distinct challenges that influence both our family structure and our ability to find partners. I wholeheartedly believe that more openness, empathy, and support for each other is what is needed to help us strengthen the relationships between the men and the women. Just wanted to kind of share some of the statistics to kind of jump off our conversation. Since the 1950s, the decline of African Americans' marriage rates began back in like 1950 through 1955. We were about 77%. I'm sorry, 77.6% of African Americans were married. By the 60s, it was down to 61%. The 70s, it continued to going down to the 2000s, where we're now in the 32%. So, like over half of a drop in marriage rates. Today, based on the latest census, we're about 31.2% of our population is married compared to 54% of the white population. In 2009, 70% of Black babies were born to unmarried mothers. 2015, 55% of African Americans had never been married. So these are just some statistics that kind of help show that there's definitely continued divide amongst the Black family. Some of the factors that have some of the divorce factors that have played a part in this is, of course, the fact that Black couples have a higher rate of marital dissolution compared to white couples. And still going back to the fact that we are less likely to marry, but we are more likely to separate or divorce. Divorce is more socially accepted in Black communities versus other demographics. Separation is about 4 times more common amongst African Americans. And of course, we have all the economic factors that play into a lot of these rates, from the financial stressors of unemployment, our Black men being incarcerated at higher rates. It's just really causing a lot of strain on marriages, which actually, leads to the increased divorce rates. So that's why we're here. We're not going to let all of these factors stop us from coming together. So what I want to do is I'm going to bring on the fellas, and we're going to jump right in because this is a very important topic. And I know the fellas that I have on tonight have strong opinions about this, and everyone wants to be heard. So we're gonna just get started. And we're not just here just to talk about all the problems and the symptoms and the point fingers. We want to come up with solutions. Okay. So let me go ahead and bring my brothers on. All right. We got Damon coming on in. Hey, Damon.
What's up, folks? How you doing?
All right. So we got Mark.
Yeah, what's happening?
What's happening? All right. Nye the Great coming in from Milwaukee.
You like gloves off. What's going on, y'all?
All right. And we got our special guest coming all the way from the Nation of Islam.
That's right.
All the way from the Nation of
Stanley Muhammad.
Peace, everyone. Peace.
All right. Okay, fellas, I am super excited about this conversation. I know we have been going over, different discussion topics amongst ourselves, but I really just want to start by letting each one of you kind of give your explanation of what you feel this war on Black love, or if you feel there is a war on Black love, or just your take on this topic before we dive into some deep questions. So I'm gonna start with you, Damon, because you're right here to my right.
Oh, so I get put on because of proximity. Okay.
Yes.
The war on Black love. Wow. I mean, we could go in a lot of directions with that. Part of it was a political and government process to destroy the Black family, because everybody knows the power base in America and in most countries is about family, right? So we have powerful families. Communities are usually better. So we could talk about that. We could talk about how many of our brothers and sisters have reduced relationships down to transactional agreements. We could talk about that. We could talk about people trying to survive, and some of these options that are available don't allow them to survive at the level that they think they should. There's a lot of things that are at war. And then there's also a growing population of people who are dissatisfied with what marriage provides or what marriage looks like. And so they just opt out. They don't. You gave statistics, 60% of marriages end in divorce. Why would you do something that's got a more than half a chance of failing? And so a lot of people are just opting out of traditional marriage, traditional relationships. So there's a lot of things that are attacking our relationships. And so I think we have to delve into some of the more systemic stuff, but then we also have to talk about the more community-based stuff that we're dealing with as a culture.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Damon. Yeah, you brought up so many things that I hope that we can dive into today. So thank you. All right. Brother Mark.
What's happening?
What are your thoughts on this war on Black love?
Well, this really, here's what I have to say about that. War to me is either one or two things. it's a breakdown in communication, right, between two. That's what causes war, where someone may be thinking one thing, someone may be thinking the other, right? Or sometimes it can be a misunderstanding, right? So for me, when I hear the word war, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of there's a breakdown in communication when it comes to the two genders, right? I'm noticing that in some cases, we think that one is supposed to be thinking as equal to how we think, and a lot of times that's not the case. So we have to get an understanding that one, we don't communicate enough, and also we try to put others into the space of what we feel what's being communicated. So we got to get to understanding. I think that's what the problem, the war is. We just don't understand each other.
Well, Sister LaDonna, I would say that the topic that you have, we must actually define the words. Because if you don't really understand the words, then we don't understand how to get to the root of the problem, because there's so many misunderstandings in communication. And so when we say Black, so many of us have our own definition of Black. But in the context, the beautiful context you grammar this topic, Black is not a color. As we're taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and divine leadership of Honorable Minister Farrakhan, Black is the essence which all color derives from.
Absolutely.
And when you talk about Black, you talk about first. Everything came out of darkness. We came out of the darkness of our mother's womb. As the Holy Quran says, that we came out of the triple darkness of our mother's womb. And Allah said, and I created you from your mother's womb out of triple darkness. The Bible says in the beginning, the universe of the earth was full of darkness. And then he said, let there be light. So Black means original. Black means first. And the first being in the universe is God. And the Bible says in the book of Jeremiah 8:21, God says, I am Black. You hear that? See, many of us, so when you see a Black person, you're seeing someone who is a direct descendant from the originator of the heavens and the earth. That's why you're Black, because you're the original man. You're the original woman. And when we say love, the Bible says God is love in the book of John, chapter 4, verse 8. So when you say love, you're saying God. So now we're talking about a divine subject. And so we have to go to the root of this subject, which is God. We can't absent God from this subject, because the woman that we're looking at, we didn't create her. The man that the woman's looking at, she didn't create him. And guess what? We're not even wise enough to even create the seminal fluid that we all actually derive from. So I think that the war on Black love has to be the enemy of God. And that's Satan himself. Because who would make war on love? Who would make war on Black but an enemy of God or an enemy of love? But now we must be on this show to identify who is the enemy. And one thing we have to realize that now this is that the enemy objective is to make us into himself, that we'll be a carbon copy of that enemy. So we'll be Black but white-minded. We'll be Black but have the mind of the KKK. self-hatred.
Oreo.
And so the same way the enemy on the plantation treated our women, we'll treat her the same way.
Mm.
He called her a wench. He put her on the auction block. Turn over, wench. Bend over, wench. Look at this wench, and the highest bidder. That's nothing but a modern strip club.
Oh,
That's the same thing they do in Magic City. It's the plantation selling our women on the auction block all over again. She's new. Turn over and you throw the money at her. That's the white man's mindset, the enemy of black love. And unfortunately, the slave master had made us into himself, pardon me.
Mm.
In closing, in 2024, we still got his name. That's a chain of slavery. So when he purchased our ancestors on the auction block, we had the names of God, Kareem, which means gracious. This is an attribute of God. Rahman, which means beneficent. And then he said, well, he took us out of that name. And then once he purchased us, he gave us Mr. White, Mr. Roundtree, Mr. Smith. And here we are with family reunion with those names on our t-shirt, the Johnson family reunion. And we glorifying the William family reunion. And we are so happy to be his slave. And so here we are. We have to face the reality that the enemy have made the black man into himself. And the way we treat our women, it parallels the way the enemy treated our women on the plantation. So a few good men, and hopefully we can define what a few good men really is. And because few means that doesn't mean many. It means just that, just a few.
Just a few. All right. Thank you, Brother Stanley.
Thank you.
All right, Nye.
Ooh, where do I start? So to piggyback off of what Brother Stanley was saying,
that wasn't a pig, brother. That wasn't a pig, okay?
Bean pie back.
That was something heavy. That was a Clydesdale.
That was a horse, brother.
That
was a horse, brother. That wasn't no pig.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry, man.
To add on to what Brother Stanley was saying. Let me add on. Let me make more. Okay, so oftentimes they know who we are, but we don't know who we are.
That's right.
So it's a reason behind it's a reason behind all of this. When the welfare movement started, the welfare started in 1938 and on. A man couldn't even be in the household. They actually sent workers out to come check without you knowing. So it a lot of people saw, especially some women saw, that it was economically beneficial because they didn't get the benefits that they would get if they were married or they had a man in the house. That's one. That's a small part of the pie. But the main thing is the reason why they have a war on black love, black people in particular, is because it's a numbers thing. They don't want us to overpopulate them. Right. That's why it's a big alarm clock on, being born each year. Every year it's increasing. So they think that we want to overpopulate them and get them back to slavery, but we just want peace. We just want separation is our reparation. That's what I always say. So the war on black love is very important to keep the family unit apart. Because and it start with the man and woman. If we can get that if we can separate them at the root, then a family's not even possible. You get what I'm saying? So now with this social media psyop, they got less than 30% of the women that's putting this negative stuff out here. That's less than 30% of the real women's opinion. The same thing with the men. The men put this bitter stuff out here about black women. It's really less than 30% of us. But like they say, the most ratchet is the loudest. The most negative is the loudest. It travels the furthest. So this is why these things are getting certain traction. I don't want to go too deep, but that's one of the reasons why I'm gonna close right there.
Right. Also, let me just add a little bit on that. On top of that, one of the things too is that I've always looked at it like this: if a certain race is attacked, that means whoever attacking us would be considered behind us, right? Because when you're number one, you don't worry about number two, right? Number two doesn't matter, right? So we must be better than what we are, especially if we're under attack, and we have to realize that first.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
absolutely.
We got to realize we at war. We don't
right.
most of us don't even know we at war.
That's
Been
right.
at war.
Brother Vince, welcome. So we are just
Hey, thank you. I apologize for being late. I had a meeting that ran over.
oh no, it's fine.
So,
it's fine. We're just getting started.
I apologize,
So-
but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be a part of it. Yeah.
Yes, glad to have
How you doing, brothers?
So
Good, my brother. How you doing?
What's up, brother?
yeah, so we were just really each person was just kind of defining what this topic is for them or what that means to them, the war on Black love. So if you want to just take a minute, think about it. I know you have some strong opinions about this, so you know. What do you feel about the war on Black love?
Yeah, and I apologize. I'm having a bit of it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of an internet connection problem. I apologize. Can you repeat the question?
What is the war on Black love to you?
I guess probably the best way I can define it from what I have seen and heard is basically I think we're at war with ourselves, to be honest. You know, it really, really boils down to mindset. It really boils down to how males and females feel about each other and how they interact with each other, etc. Yes, society plays a factor into it, but ultimately it boils down to him and her, from my perspective.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that how do you think we got there, in your opinion?
I think it's generations. It's generations and generations and generations. You know, we can take this all the way back to the plantation and how we feel about each other.
Right.
When they
right. Let me ask this. I'm sorry to interrupt.
The fair skinned Black. I think it really
but also
started there and has just progressed.
Right. But also we have to remember there was a time of greatness with us before. This hasn't always happened, right? We can agree. We all can agree on that, right?
Absolutely.
So absolutely. So yeah, okay. So the thing about that is that if at one point we showed greatness, something had to happen to interrupt that, right? So when I asked how did it get there, obviously if we're made in the likeness and the greatness of the Most High, that means something had to interfere, right? Something had to interfere. So I think it would definitely be best that, which we are now, identifying that something threw that off, right? And then we begin these bad habits, right? So the root is what's the most important thing, is my point.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's a great segue to our conversation. So if we go back to the root of this problem, right? Because when we were over in Africa minding our own business, our families were intact.
My family was here.
Your family was here. I know your family was here. Okay, what's going on? I'm sorry.
Vince is speaking. Go ahead, Vince.
Vince is just saying he's having.
Yeah, so I was saying I was having some internet issues. It's sporadic. It's kind of going back and forth. So, Mark, I didn't get your whole story.
I think my story is this story of how we got here, right? And so how again, like I guess I'm gonna make it real quick and easy. So I'm gonna say this. There's history books and information that show that we were people of greatness. We still are, right? There are books that show that, right? So from the time from here when we were on top of the food chain, right? We can say that, right? Something along the way had to interrupt that, right? I don't believe, unless someone can help me with this, I don't believe that we naturally converted that way, right? I think something interceded within that greatness, and that's the beginning of where we are right now.
I think Brother Stanley Muhammad can answer that one, of how of why we're going through evil, basically, because that's what happened. That was let in. That was allowed for a certain amount of time.
Right. Well, the thing is that since we are direct descendants from the creator of the heavens and the earth, and we are taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that the supreme being is self-created. He didn't have a mother or father to create him. That's what makes him God. And the scripture says that God said, let us make man in our image and after our own likeness. See, so after he created himself, he first had to make a man. See, man comes first, and then the woman comes from the man. As we know that we have both chromosomes, X and Y chromosome, right? So it's the man that determines the sex. So that means that man has to have the qualities and the attributes of God to lead the people, his family, the woman, his children, to God. Because the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, starting with the first verse, it says, God is the head of Christ. Christ is the head of man, and man is the head of woman. Not head in terms of master, head in terms of servant. See, Jesus was a servant of the people. He didn't come to be served. He came to serve. And that's the way we have to look at the woman of God. See, she's not man's woman, she's God's woman. Amen. We have to look at the spirit. How can I serve her? How can I serve my children? Now, but we only can be the head of woman if Christ is our head, if God is our head. And so now the question comes, who is God? And if the white man won't treat us right, he's not going to teach us right. There's churches on every corner saying Jesus saves in the black neighborhood, in the ghetto, but we're still not saved. Because they're teaching the slave master's misinterpretation of who God is. But now we have to go on that journey to find out who God is. And I'm going to close with this. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us through the divine leadership of his spiritual son, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, that knowledge of self is the knowledge of God. The more you learn about who you are, the true self, that's how you learn about God. And you can't even love God more than you love yourself. The degree we love ourselves, that's the degree we love God. Now, when we talk about self, the woman is a part of ourself. See, we got that X and Y chromosome, right? So she comes from us. So abusing her is like abusing yourself. Not loving her is like not loving yourself. So here we are. The root of this war is that we, like my brother Vince says, we hate ourselves. It's really something that we have to look at within ourselves, because white people can't do anything to us but that which we allow them to do.
Facts.
But when we start really loving ourselves and we unite based on that love, see? But you can't love yourself if you don't know yourself.
Yep.
How can you love that which you don't know? And that's why we gotta learn. Why am I black? Am I black because I'm cursed, because I'm a descendant of Ham, what white people taught me? So I'm taught to be a slave of the two brothers because Ham looked at his Noah nakedness, so he was cursed. And guess what the Jewish rabbis say in the Talmud? It's not a divine book. It's a book they wrote with their own hands. It's a misinterpretation of the Torah. They said when Ham was cursed, his skin became black. His nose became thick. I mean, broad, I'm sorry. His lips became thick. His hair became kinky. And they teach that in the theological seminary school. You
said it right.
Cemetery school.
You said it right.
Hey, and the Book of Mormon. Yeah. The Book of Mormon teach that the Lamanites are cursing. They black people.
That's what I'm saying.
And if you accept Joseph and Jesus in this lifetime, you get to come back to this earth with white skin, blessed with white skin, and die from cancer. No, I'm just playing. From melanoma. I'm just joking. But yeah, that's what it's saying.
That's an excellent point, brother. See?
Right. Yeah, I read the Book of Mormon just so I could get this. Get this
look.
I said, why these boys riding bikes around here?
Okay, so brother, so I think we've established who the enemy is, right? Everybody can agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do we have to say everybody agrees who the enemy is?
Oh yeah, everybody unanimously.
And and what do you all think? And I'll let each of you answer this. Like, what do you think is the reason why the enemy wants to keep the Black man and woman apart? They want us at war with each other. They want us separate. I'm gonna start with you, Nye, because we just had this conversation.
Like DJ Khaled said, we the best.
That's right.
Hey, when they warred over in Europe forever, if you watch the movie Braveheart, they was fighting each other for a while, then they took their show on the road. So they got a lot of practice. We was peaceful people. You know what I'm saying? So when they came to infiltrate, some of the places that they showed up, we saw them was like, what? We were so enamored with the lack of melanin, we didn't pay attention that was what they was coming for. So they infiltrated everywhere it was a pinnacle, a high pinnacle society. They infiltrated. They went to Africa. They went to South America. They came here in America. They went to, when we were in India, they went over there. In Asia, they went over there. They always followed us everywhere we went to basically dismantle whatever societies we built. So when the same thing over here. So knowing who we are, though, they know who we are. They know they got books and books of history of who we are. They know we the guys and they used to worship us. You know, so when knowing all that, it's like you got this power. You got these powerful pocket guys that you got control of, and the only thing you have to do is keep them separate and dumb. And you can do it. You can get a LeBron James out of that. You get what I'm saying? You can get a Michael Jackson out of that. And I'm not knocking them. They doing great things during oppression. But I still recognize this is wrong. All right, I'm gonna close that.
Okay.
Wow.
Damon, you've been quiet over there.
I'm taking it all in because your question is a combination of history, politics, culture. There's so many different levels to it. But my answer to your question is that If you can imagine everybody that lives on your street coming together and making a decision, and they all agree on it, how powerful that would be. Like you multiply that by the people in your zip code, then maybe multiply it by the people in your state. So just think about how powerful we would be as a people if we all came together. So that's the biggest reason why they don't want the Black family together. If you want to tie history to it, in the civil rights era, a lot of the civil rights activities were supported by Black families. So if you look historically, right after the civil rights movement, like Nine said, the welfare system kicked in because they realized that a lot of these powerful families, and some of us that live in Atlanta, you hear some of the names of some of these families. Every major city has these powerful Black families that have money and power and influence. So if you begin to break that down, if you no longer have a power base of Black folks who have economic power, who have power over education, who have power over religion, who have power over healthcare. I mean, so then you begin to see, if we can break down this family, we can impact everybody. So I think that's, to me, the biggest focus is just taking away that power base of now you can't influence and impact the world because you don't have families that are coming together. So if all of our families came and sat down in the room and said, okay, we want to build a house in this neighborhood, we could do that. But if you multiply that times 100,000 families, you could build an entire city or entire state. So we don't want that kind of power. They're not interested in that kind of power because that changes some things. It's the same thing with the abortion law, too much power, too many Black folks, too many brown folks being born, too much power. Education, we're being attacked on education level, too much power. Healthcare, too much power. So it's about breaking down that power base.
Yeah, absolutely.
Killing the momentum.
Yeah. What about you, Vince? You got anything to add? Do you agree?
I think Damon hit it all. It's not much more I can add behind that. I think he was spot on and he was, on point. But we got to get back to, we can continue to keep pointing the finger and there's a lot of things out there that are against us, but what are we doing for ourselves? How are we educating ourselves? How are we bettering ourselves?
We're gonna get to that, brother. We're gonna get to it. Best believe we gotta, when you're dealing with certain audiences, you gotta build a case first. We're gonna get to let's build a case. Amen. Let's build a case.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people just found out we were at war. They don't know.
Today, right now.
Well, it's easy. It's easy. All you have to do is watch commercials on TV and notice that they don't show Black couples anymore.
Man, I was just about to say
they
that.
show mixed couples. If you look at all the commercials that you see on TV, you don't remember now. Just remember, a couple years ago, they had commercials specifically for this product and that product, and they would show Black couples, a Black man, a Black woman, and Black kids. But now, when you turn on your television and you see a commercial for any product, I don't care what it is, you see a mixed couple with a mixed race baby or mixed race child, because they're sending a message to us. Hey, you don't have to do that. You have other options out here. You can.
Population control.
We don't necessarily want you to reproduce with your own people. There's other options out here. So just pay attention to that. Just turn on your TV.
It's the same formula too. It's the same formula. Yes. They used this formula back in Kemet. They used it here with Pocahontas. What they would do is they'd get in with one of our women, like the Asians are doing in Africa right now. They having Asian babies, and it's really Black babies, but a lot of them are gonna go with survival. So they're gonna go. That's what happened in Kemet when those mixed pharaohs started to rule. It started to dismantle everything because they were favoring the non-Blacks. Right. And it's the same thing right now. They're using the same formula. He's right. I said, I made a post. I was like, what does Hollywood have against Black love? Because every TV show, movie, unless it's a Black producer, you cannot find a Black couple nowhere. Even if it's gay, which I don't know, but it's still not a Black couple. It's not. That's what, and you got to look at that and be like, I mean, even I could be real petty, right? Go to if you got an iPhone, go on your iPhone, look at your emojis, and try to find a Black couple. It's that serious, man.
No, seriously. Everyone
download it. You gotta download it.
Right.
You gotta download the black emojis for your phone. You gotta
Yeah,
find it. and
everyone,
download it.
everyone in the chat, go ahead and put, if you can find a black family, a black couple,
Black family,
a,
black couple.
a black woman and a black man. If you can find that emoji, put it in the comments. We'll wait.
Right.
Well,
Right.
while we're
So-
waiting, I want to say this to what you said, Nye, and to this whole someone. I'm looking at the comments. Someone's talking about blood mixing and about these different races come together. I think we are doing a disservice to our younger generations by not sharing some of the stuff that we've learned along the way. I saw someone posting here about Francis Cress Westling's teaching about the power of black people, the power of black DNA, right? And so even though other races are mixing with black folks, you realize that those children are going to be black.
They
No
still
matter
black.
no matter
Right.
what you no matter how you try to dilute the race, our DNA is just powerful enough that
Right.
they're going to be black children, because we all know if Nye sleeps with a white woman, Asian woman, Indian woman, he's going to produce
Baby
a black
not.
child,
That's
a black
right.
child, right? He's going to do that. But the other power of his DNA is that Nye can produce a child of any color, but they'll still be black.
Facts.
Still be black. So I think when we talk about solutions, we need to start teaching our younger generations about the kind of power that we have, whether it's genetically, whether it is education. That we need to. We don't emphasize that enough. Our younger generation is more. They're more concerned with fitting in and standing out at the same time, and don't really understand the real power of who they are and what they have. So I think we need to do a better job of teaching them the real, some real information about who we are as people. And then black love will be something more attractive.
Right.
Right.
Now, if I may say, my brother, you made a good point about if all of our people unite, it will be a powerful sight to see. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan teaches us our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. See, and we know the power of an atomic bomb. And that's the power that we have potentially. And that's why the enemy uses divide and conquer. See, we want to be divided based upon, well, this is the way I see it, that's the way he sees it, we're different. But we have to, in the way we unite, we have to focus on the common denominator. Right? Now, we all agree that none of us got here by two men. Right?
Oh man.
Okay,
All
we
right.
all agree on that, right?
I hope we all
Okay, listen.
Right. So
Okay,
we got
so
to
not
keep
at all.
our
Yeah.
audience. Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad, well, at some point you're gonna leave, but we both have I'll say this. We both have audiences that may disagree strongly with where we're going, and we want to keep our fan base, to be honest with you.
I mean, he's not saying anything that's not.
Right. No.
Right, I'm just saying.
I'm not. Yeah, I respect that, brother. But
Right.
what I'm saying is that I'm trying to make a point here,
Right.
because one of you spoke about how the enemy sees us overpopulated. Okay, just hear me out. And I'm not knocking anyone. I'm not trying to be condescending or disrespectful for
There you
those
go.
who are like that.
Mhm.
I'm just speaking of reality.
Right.
Yep.
That I'm speaking about example of a common denominator.
Right.
Who can disagree with that? That two men cannot produce human life. How? Raise your hand, all of us on this panel who got here by two males, or even two females.
I
Raise your
dare
hand.
you.
Raise your hand.
And if you
Oh.
do, I got more
Now
questions.
look.
So Nye was about to crack a whole joke about my mama had two friends, and she ain't really say who my daddy was. And I was about to crack a joke. I saw it. I saw it in your face, Nye.
So look. Let's because see, someone said truth is truth in the chat.
It is.
Right? And Jesus said, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall what? Set you
Make you free. Mm-hmm.
all right, free from the bondage of our enemy's ideology and viewpoint. See? And so we know that it was Henry Kissinger and President Nixon in the 70s, they came up with a plan to depopulate the Black family.
Oh yeah,
Okay, so this is a power
because of the
because
2000 report.
they've seen our birth rate increasing, right? And then they saw theirs are below zero, and they said by a certain point in time, I think it's 2030, that here in America they will be the minority,
Yep.
and we will be the majority.
Mm-hmm. And they
Okay,
trying to
so-
make it. They trying to make it so the Hispanics do that is the majority because they can. I guess they feel they can control them better.
Well,
That's why they open up the borders.
many
'Cause
of
they
them
already know it's
identify as white. Many of them identify as white to
They
get the
do.
benefits of being white. So
They do.
That's correct.
And they get added. And they get added to the population on
they
the
get
census.
added to the census. And as a former teacher, I can
foreigners
tell
too.
you, as a former teacher in the database in the county system, they have the vast majority of Hispanic kids listed as white students. So that when a white family is looking for a school for their child to go to, they look up the statistics. It will say this school is 80% white, but the truth is it's 50% Hispanic.
Oh wow!
Right. But
That's a hell of a twist when you pull up.
Let me tell you the truth of that. See, the truth of that is that Black, as I said, is not national, it's universal.
Right.
The highest population of Black people in the Western Hemisphere is in Brazil.
Yeah. Yep. South America.
See, and you got Black people in Brazil blacker than I am. I think Sister Donna, you've been to Brazil. I don't know if
I've
you've
been there.
They look,
you've
they
been
look
there,
like
brother.
me. They
Yes.
my color.
I love it.
There's majority of them are Black. In Cuba,
But
they speak Spanish, and the only reason they speak Spanish is because they're slave masters. That's the language of the slave master, and they have Spanish
Central
names.
America too. I lived in Central America. It's all Black. They
All
thought I was
Black.
them until I said something.
And my wife is from Mexico. Her father is blacker than me. Afro like
Olmecs.
yours, brother.
The old
You
man.
see? Yeah, because you got a lot of Afro Mex in Mexico. So this is how he divides us and make us think that we're all different. But we're all the same people. The slave master just dropped them off in Brazil, dropped them off in Mexico, dropped them off in Cuba, and dropped us off where? In America.
Or they took over in those places. Because when I went to go live in Belize, right? I went down to Punta Gorda where I'm talking about where the oldest Belizeans is. I'm talking look like dark locks, everything. And I thought I so-called did some surface research. I was like, wow, it's so amazing how y'all took over those 3 slave ships, and that's how Honduras got populated, and then it spread. They looked at me, they were like, what are you talking about? It was like, man, we got artifacts from over 100,000 years old. We got our original language. We don't even remember no other language. He said they came here with guns and they enslaved us. And that's what happened. Most of these places, we was already there. Remember, like
That's
you
right.
said, it's divide and conquer.
That's
We
right.
the majority. They ain't that powerful.
That's
We
right.
the majority. Where they came with their colonies like they took over where they could and it spread from there. Like even in 1948, did you know that they didn't just put Jews in Israel? They placed them all over the world. Because when I went to Belize, it was the Mennonites there. The Jewish folks, the Mennonites were right there, and they let me know, no, we were spread all over the world when that happened. So I don't want to side note too far, but that's a little bit of the history. Like we was already all over this place.
That's beautiful.
They came with their
And so what I'm getting at, Sister LaDonna and brothers, is that, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone's personal life. I was just speaking a truth that even if you are, a lesbian or homosexual, whatever life you live, you're still our brother and sister. We're not judging you. I was just making a point that even that couple came here by male and female,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
And so we acknowledge that that's a common denominator. I'm using that as an example.
Mhm.
Now, also, if you go and look at the facts of Henry Kissinger and President Nixon's plan to depopulate the Black population,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
One of the plans was homosexuality and lesbianism.
Mm.
Because if two males get together, two females get together,
Ain't having no baby.
the population will actually cease, right? So they're promoting that among the Black family. Now, let me ask you this. Did you look at the statistics that Sister LaDonna showed about marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was those statistics, LaDonna? 32%?
Yeah.
Let's look at those statistics again, because now we're going back to the plantation, because it was against the rules of the plantation for Black men and women to marry, because we were not human beings. We were 3/5 of a human being.
We were property.
They said my pigs don't marry, my chickens don't marry, so my nigga's not gonna marry.
Right.
Mhm.
So therefore, we have been for over 310 years been conditioned to have an aversion towards Black love, marriage, loving our Black woman, and the Black woman loving their Black man, and having the structure of God. Because in the beginning, in the book of Genesis, the first marriage was Adam and Eve. That was God. He structured that first marriage, that first family, Adam and Eve.
Mm.
And follow me now. Now, if we're Black now, that means we're coming from the original mind of God. Our nature is the same nature as God. Our nature is righteousness. And anything that is of God is righteous. So now look at here. It was against the law for Black men to marry, but it was lawful for Black men to be studs, to be
Mm-hmm.
philanderers.
Mm.
Go into your mother, nigga, and give me some more niggas. That's where the term MF come from.
Yeah. I know that
Oh
one.
man.
Now we're just talking truth now. We're not
Yeah.
talking,
Come on.
because truth only offends the guilty.
Mm.
Mhm.
We're not talking about something that we want. See, we got to acknowledge what's right, because we got to be honest. We have adopted the mind of our slave master.
We have.
And he makes right look wrong and wrong look right, up look down and down look up. He makes us view our women the way he views our women. Our women was nothing but an object of pleasure for him. He didn't love the Black woman. It was not marriage when he impregnated her with his seed and all these mulatto children on the plantation.
Mm.
And then he was allowed to go into the big house, the mulatto child, and wear his old coats and his old boots. And he was the house Negro.
Wow.
And the white man made us think that he was better than us. Now, let me say this. So as a stud, go into your sister, go into your daughter, and give me some slaves. And we get into the family now.
Somebody gotta die.
Now, here we are. You can hardly find a Black woman that have not been violated by a family member. Come on now. By an uncle, a father, a nephew,
Pastor the
brother,
DNA.
Cousins.
cousins.
Yep.
All this is plantation sickness that he was making war on Black love. It started on the plantation. And now here we are in 2024.
Bull sir.
We have our own family members, own Black men creeping into their daughter's room, scarring her for life.
Yeah.
Uncles who should be trusted with their nieces, and now They're molesting their nephews, molesting their own sons, fathers molesting their sons. So now this is what the slave master did to us. It was called buck breaking.
Mm-hmm.
He saw a strong black man that believed in family, that believed in the family structure of Almighty God Allah. And then he took that strong black man and put him out on the plantation, brought all the slaves out, and he violated that black man
In front of everybody.
in front of everybody.
Mm.
Yep.
And so what I'm saying is that we see that same sickness going on today in our families.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to now address this, brothers.
You're right.
And
You're right.
I'll tell you this now. You have picked the right brothers, Sister LaDonna. God have guided you because these brothers are dynamic. And I feel their spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But I want us to really look at, brothers, that one thing that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. And this is about the solution. There's no such thing as a no good woman.
Mm.
Every woman that we say is no good, she was made that way by no good man. If you trace her life, the reason why she acts out, the reason why she's recalcitrant, because you see some man that she trusted have violated that trust. And now she's looking at all men through the lens of that violation.
Mm.
Or maybe an uncle, or maybe a father.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
You understand? And you say, damn, what's wrong with this woman? She don't respect black men.
She crazy.
She crazy. But we ain't talking about what made her that way.
Yeah.
Because
And
there's
I
a long
want to
cause
add
and effect.
something.
Go ahead, Sister
Yeah.
LaDonna.
So what I see a lot is, which is like adding to the divide, is just like, well, black women, you hear people say, black women are mean, black women are aggressive, black women, they start to make a little bit of money and then now they won't listen to a man. They're not submissive enough. And what it really hurts, and this is like coming from a sister, brothers, it really hurts when it comes from you all, because you are still in our eyes, no matter what the slave master did to emasculate y'all are still our protectors,
Right.
in our eyes and in our heart, right? So when it comes from you, it cuts a little bit deeper, right? And so I think what would help is if, like, Brother Stanley, like the way he, described like what, everything that has happened to us and is happening to us, if we had some empathy from black men, if you all like took a second to think like, why is this sister like this? Why is she, loud and angry? Why is she, always on guard? If you just show a little empathy, you might be able to break past that, which is what we want. We want y'all to come in and be our knights in shining armors. We don't want to be out here unprotected.
That's right.
We feel like we have to protect ourselves.
I got seven, as you know, Sister LaDonna, I got 7 daughters.
Mm.
So I know what you're talking about. And I got a wife that she's not no Minnie Mouse woman, brothers. I tell you. You'll see on Sunday.
Oh, we see her in the chat right now.
You see on Sunday. But look at this. Look at this now. Look at this. I love my people, regardless of what their condition is, because I can't judge our people. Because it was what was done to us that we have to focus on. You don't blame the clay, you blame the potter. If you see a black person that's other than what he should be, just say made in America. I would say this now. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us this, brothers, that a nation can rise no higher than its women.
The women, yeah.
See, when you teach a man, you teach an individual, but when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. See, civilization is not measured by the man. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us under divine leadership of the Honorable Minister Parker, it's measured by the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? Our first lesson comes from who? Our mother.
Our mother, yeah.
She's the first nurse, the first doctor, you see? And if the woman's ignorant, the children going to be ignorant. The nation's going to be ignorant. So we have to understand that the pain that the woman has, she passes that pain on to the children, the ignorance to the children. But vice versa. If she's intelligent and she's wise, right? Then she will pass on that wisdom to our children. She'll pass on that peace and happiness and love to our children. That's why in war, the woman's always called the booty, the spoils of war.
And
The
you know what?
treasure.
Another thing, just to add what you were saying too, they are definitely the great teachers. You know, even from the womb, starting from the womb, right? The game is downloaded from the womb. That's the first. That's the first piece of game. Then when you come out the womb, guess what happens? The first day of school, wherever it is you need to get, guess who's going to be there to get you right? It's your mother.
That's
right.
Right.
So guess what happens? So guess what happens? Guess what happens next? Guess what happens next? When you get ready to go to high school, right? And you need to get your grades, right? And you got your girlfriend. Guess what she's gonna do? She's gonna make sure you get your work, right? While your homeboys laughing at you while you failing, she's gonna make sure you keep your grades up, right?
That's right.
So then guess what happens? As you graduate through life, you're gonna find that there's gonna be a woman that's gonna be connected to your ascension in life at some point, whether if you like her or not, whether if you date her or not, right?
There you go,
look back, if you look back at the lineage of how you got there, some type of woman paved the way for you to get there. So
That's
with
right.
that being said, I'll just say we just have to have more honor in that because remember, they're the original gang givers.
No, they're not. Somebody saying I thought the woman is the reflection of a man. Is the woman the leader now? I'm getting confused here. That's why.
Okay. You know what? Thank you.
So can I?
No, it's not the woman's the leader. No. The woman is the standard of civilization.
Standard. Okay.
I say
David got something to say, y'all. Hold on.
I say they the gatekeepers of morality, especially here in America. They the gatekeepers of morality.
Yes,
These people run it through them before they go on the show with it. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Take it on the road. I meant to say.
Right.
What you got, Damon? About the woman being the leader? What was you about?
No, that's not where I'm.
Where you going?
I love what Brother Stanley said about there are no bad women. My question for everyone would be, if we all agree that the woman is the standard, then whether that woman is married or not, how do we create a generation of teachable women? Because the example you gave was that there are no bad women. If a woman is bad, it's because a man did something to her. Fair. Now, I don't completely agree with that. I do agree with you, but I also think there's a generation of women who teach other women bad behavior and pass that down from generation to generation as well. So maybe a man did the first woman wrong, and then she taught every woman after her to do certain things that aren't in the right light. So I think there's two different groups of women there. But my question is, with all of the noise that we get from social media, and we get pressure from family, and we get pressure from education, how do we create a generation of teachable women who are open to learning something new than what they've already been taught, or what they're being bombarded with who they should be, what they should look like, what they should sound like? How do we compete with Sexy Red, and how do we compete with some of these other sounds and voices and images? How do we make a more teachable woman so that we can kind of kind of right the ship a little bit? That's my question for everybody.
By
For
setting
me-
the example. By
for
setting the
me-
example. I'm gonna
Yes,
say
sir.
that by setting the example.
For me, I'm starting with my daughters.
That's
I
a
got
good
3
one.
of them.
That's a good one.
I got 3 of them. In the Bible, it says, "Be fruitful, then multiply." Right?
That's
It
right.
means become somebody conducive to society that somebody gonna look at and say, you know what, we need more of him around here. So I got 3 of them, and with that, it can change the dynamic of this whole world by teaching them, raising them right, teaching them the right things, teaching them game, telling them they're beautiful over and over again. So when a dude say it, it don't sound new. So a lot of these things, I'm instilling so much game into my daughters that, ooh, I hope they can find me.
Yep. And can I go next? I'm actually gonna take what the brother said and what we have right here, like the no good woman was made that way by a no good man. Instead of Damon like going straight to how do we create teachable women, start with the men. How do we create better men that don't harm women or that are present, that are secure, that are leaders? Because that's where it starts.
But those men aren't popular. Those men are not getting
popular. Why are we talking about popular?
So if we're gonna have an honest and real conversation, I expected that response. I respected that response. I did. But men that are respectable, men that are honorable, men, they're not popular. They're not attractive. And so
To
what you
who?
see is the vast majority of women out here are not attracted to a man who respects them. And that's why I'm trying to well, of course you don't agree, because we talk about this every show, because you're looking at women who are in a different class. I'm trying to figure out how do we get more people into the class that you're in. I want to get them into the class that you're in.
Here. There's plenty of women over here.
So what I want to know is, and maybe the answer to my question is creating more men, absolutely, that are honorable, that are respectful, but I can tell you that a lot of men will tell you that they are respectful towards women. They are chivalrous towards women. They are nice towards women, and they get treated poorly. And so a lot of men feel like, the term "nice guys finish last." A lot of guys feel like, well, I do all the things that I'm supposed to do, and I don't get the time or attention from the women that I should. So that's what I'm trying to do, is how do we counteract on both sides of the table? How do we counteract this kind of, we should make men who are respectful more popular and more attractive than men who are disrespectful. That's kind of where I want to go. So yes, I agree with you. We should make more men that act a certain way and live a certain way. But how do we then make that man more attractive?
You know what? Somebody made a good comment. The woman is a constellation and consoler, right? There's a theory that the man represents the light, the way, the sun, right? And so that would mean everything else evolves around it, right? So if we're the proverbial light in the path to what, as the leader, right? You would think that at some point, yes, are there some women that may be quote unquote unteachable, but we can't allow that to take us out of our greatness as men.
Right.
That's my point, right?
Them
We need to set the example. Those who don't get it, eventually what happens is, one of the biggest things we have to also realize, we live in a world of fads, right? It's fads. People dictate the direction of the mindset of how we're going to go as a whole, as a society, right? So I'm sure if we took responsibilities for our part, and then one woman would catch on, and then another woman would catch on, and eventually the ones who don't catch on will be drowned out where it doesn't even matter. So life is about balance. You're going to have negative and positive situations, right? So this is how it is. So if we have enough power, and I do believe we have enough power to drown out those small numbers, so that the bigger number rises above that and we don't even notice it.
And how do we do that?
By setting the example. Now that's a different conversation on how we set the example. Now that's a whole nother show.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
Wanna
if
make
we don't,
sure,
if we
yeah.
don't understand, if we don't understand how, and this is not on you per se, Damon, I'm not saying this, but if we can all learn and take pieces from each other on how to set the example, that's a whole nother story. And maybe we may need to do that one day. And today, but today is not the day. But that's my answer.
Can
No,
I synthesize both of these views?
Okay, go
Because
ahead, brother.
I think that some of us are saying 5 + 2 is 7, right? And someone else is saying, well, 4 × 3 is 7. You know, so was that right? That was wrong.
Oh, that's we know what you meant. We know what you
You know
meant.
what I mean?
You know what you meant, but yeah.
4 + 3 is 7, right?
Yeah.
So we have different expressions, right? But it boils down to the same conclusion.
Same thing.
And but we have to go to the root of things, brothers and sisters, to understand that, you know, how we get to this point to raise the civilization of our people by raising civilization of the woman, right? Now, first thing the man must learn is the nature of the woman. Because if we don't know the nature of a thing, we won't know the actions of a thing.
Right.
See, the Holy Quran says the male is not like the female. So the problem with this war, this conflict, men are looking at things from their nature, right? And women looking at from her nature. If we don't understand the nature of things, of this woman, and the woman don't understand the nature of man, that which is made to complement each other becomes a conflict of each other. That's the war.
Right.
I'm going to read something from the Honorable Minister Farrakhan's monumental book, A Torchlight for America, on page 99. Just something brief, it's not long. Promoting positive relations between the sexes. This is what he says. The basis of proper male-female relationships. Quote, neither male nor female can fulfill their relationship to each other until they are first properly connected to the source of all creation, which is God. There's no way we can fulfill our, duty or relationship to each other until we're properly connected with God. And we talked about that on a surface earlier. Then the minister said, quote, this is the why divorce rate is so high and the dissatisfaction rate in relationship between the sexes is even higher. The nature of male and female are different, but they are meant to complement each other. In the absence of knowledge, the different natures of male and female can work destructively against the self and against the union of both. So here we're seeing the destructive behaviors in the relationship. We're destructive with our voices or our tongues, because the Bible says the power of life and death is in the tongue, and we kill the spirit of each other because we don't understand the nature of each other, and we're not connected properly to the first black being in the universe, which is God. Then the minister said the fundamental knowledge that is absent in male-female relationship is the knowledge of how we should relate to God and each other. Is our disconnection from God that is at the root of failing an improper relationship between man and woman. This is a very deep problem in relationship between black men and women. So I'm saying this clearly. The nature of the woman is to be a consoler of God. You didn't hear me now. I said the nature of the woman is to be the consoler of God, but not Satan. She's recalcitrant towards Satan. Now, when I say God, the Bible says in Psalms 82, verse 6, ye are all gods.
Come on.
Children of the Most High God. So the Most Holy Elijah Muhammad said, every time I look at the face of a black man, I'm looking to the face of God. So if you and the black man, we don't see ourselves as God, and God is love, we won't see her as God. Because she's the second self of God. Because she comes from God. Now, if her nature is to console God, we must ask ourselves, how much of God's attributes does she see in us? And God, in Islam, God has 99 attributes, and 100 attribute make up Allah. And he has more. And we look at and study those attributes. The very nature of God is our nature. We have the same nature of the supreme being, but it's dormant. And our bad experience here in America have made the attributes of God dormant. And now Satan or our enemy have activated the attributes of self-hatred, envy, jealousy, lust, greed. We have more of that in us than we have beneficence, which is the attribute of God. And the more the woman sees beneficence in us, the more she sees mercy in us, the more she sees forgiveness in us, the more she sees the Rab, which means nurturer, in us. Guess what? She can't reject God.
Yeah.
She begins to bow. She begins to be submissive. But a man can't expect a woman to be submissive to him if he's not submissive to God, because only God can reactivate those dormant attributes that's in us. And the more she sees God in us, the more she falls in love with us. Now, we have a definition of a nice guy, a good guy. You know, a nice guy might say, "How you doing? You sure look nice today." And she might say, "Who the hell you talking to, freak?"
That's the light. That's the light that we're talking about. That's the light, right?
Right.
By giving a smile, that's the light.
Yeah, don't let it change you.
But the thing is that does not. It can have motive to it. See, people can talk nice, but what's your motive? Because one language of Satan is he likes to flatter, because he wants something from you. When someone flatters you, that means they want something from you. So she might pick it up. But if she sees the genuine attribute of God in a man, which women, this is another thing, brothers, we got to realize, she might not even know this about herself. Her nature is to test and try a man to see if he's qualified to lead her.
Hello. Better put that.
She might put her girlfriend in front of you with showing her pickaboo.
Really, Donna?
Don't encourage.
Look, brother.
Slave Master Johnson's daughter.
She might put a home record in front of you to see if you actually fall for it. And then at that point, she knows you ain't the man of God. See, and then she her nature. That's why in the Bible she's called a bride. A bride is a horse. It's an allegorical picture. She's not a horse, but it's the Bible gives you a picture that you can extract the principle, right? And the principle of a horse gonna buck. To see if you qualify. The bucking is called testing. If you qualify the rider, so you must come with some spurs. You must come with them boots.
You're right, because I don't mind.
In that mouth.
Hey, I don't mind a stallion every once in a while. I'll be honest with you.
We like stallions.
But you know what, Brother Stanley, like, I actually have a book that I think it's called The Relationship Manual from the Studies of the Nation, and like it actually like goes through like the process of courting and like the questions you're supposed to
Yeah.
ask in the beginning.
I
And
remember that.
You
yeah,
got
and it's like,
okay. Well, suggest that book then, because that's the solution. Come on now, what's that?
yeah, I mean, I don't know
What
if
is it called?
if
It's
I
called,
think
it's a courtship manual.
the
The
courtship
courtship
manual.
manual.
Yeah,
Can we
you
get
got,
it?
you got it.
Can
You
we
got
get
it.
it and share with other people?
Hey
We
y'all,
can.
the
I
courtship
have it.
manual.
Yeah, it's just that you got to take that man to court. You got to take that woman to court, and you got to go through a
You gotta go
discovery
to
period.
their hometown and ask questions. That's what you
Right, right. And the
You meet people in
ex-wife and the
other states. You need to go to
ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, no, it has like
It's,
it's like
it's, a,
a
it's
lot
a
of
science.
questions.
It's a science to it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, we weren't taught that, right? We weren't taught how to, other cultures have, the process for whether it's like arranged marriages or even just culturally what's taught down. But us as, African Americans here in America, we don't have anything like that. We're winging it. We're learning from the
on the
examples
fly.
of our mothers. Right. We learn it on the fly, from our parents, what we see on TV,
Especially.
now the internet. And we need to spread the knowledge of the courtship manual. And
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like that.
yeah, it's some great questions in there that I actually use in my dating process. Going back to, how were you raised? Did you grow up with were your mother and father married? Right. Did you grow up, in a single parent household? How do you handle conflict? Things that.
Did you grow up on survival or love?
Love. Ooh.
That's a good question, though. That's a very
them
good.
two people don't mix. The person that's raised on survival, they usually don't mix with somebody that's raised on love. So that's actually a valid question. I don't know if you should ask it like that, but you can ask the right questions to get that answer.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I know we just been going. We don't have that much more time, but I did have a couple of questions that I wanted to dive into. So I feel like we've talked about who the enemy is. We talked about the war and how it's showing up in the Black community, and the casualties of it. And we were just kind of touching the surface on what can we do to solve the problem, right? So I know that I'm hearing some feedback. I'm sorry. I know that there's definitely some things that the women need to work on, right? We got our whole day on Sunday where we're gonna go in and we're gonna have Sister Ruth and Fatima are going to be on the call with us, giving us some guidance.
That's beautiful.
But yeah, I'm super excited about that. But I'm going to ask you fellas, just from the male perspective, what is it that you all feel that you need from women today? We're not going to compare the women from yesterday, from our, grandmothers and our mothers' generation, but from the women today, so that you wouldn't feel so disconnected from us. I know Mark already talked about the communication, which that is key, but communication, like what else do you all need from us to get a better understanding of how to lead us?
One of them is don't take kindness for weakness. Don't take kindness for weakness. Just because a guy is nice, don't mean he's soft. That don't equal soft. Because I'm nice, but I can still protect you with these hands. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm ultimately nice, but what Damon was saying, I got a little bit of remedy for being a nice guy. I can still be myself, right? But I don't make myself so willing and available. You get what I'm saying? Everything in moderation. I don't make myself all answering every call and answer the text as soon as the text is like, I don't make myself that, and it makes her kind of miss you and respect that you got something going on bigger than this whole relationship. That's
okay. Okay, so don't take kindness for weakness. Yeah, because I mean, you're right. Like we actually are looking for that security, right? So the protector. So I can see what Damon was saying. Like, you know, sometimes the nice guys don't we
I
don't
leave
pay
them
attention
on
to
red.
them because because we may not feel the sense of, you know, protection there. So thanks for pointing that out, Nye. So don't take kindness for weakness. And that I feel like we could do that, sisters, right? That's easy. Okay, Damon, what you got?
I think that the biggest thing for me is from the sisters is learning the difference between what is your nature and what is nurture. So what is naturally who you are and what you are versus what you're being taught. Because there's a lot of misinformation that is passed on from generation to generation through friends, through family, and it makes it difficult at times to try to get through to some sisters. I just want you to really think about your nature. Like, what is it that you naturally want to do? You naturally, you feel it in your heart, in your even in your bloodstream. You feel it in your system that you don't want to be. You don't want to be angry. Like you said earlier. You said earlier about us saying that black women were angry. You know, you don't want to be mad. You want to be feminine. You want to be peace giving. You want that, right? You want to be that way, but you don't always feel like you can be that way, right? So that's nature versus nurture, which you've been taught and it's been reinforced. So I want women to be able to say, hey, this is what I really want to be. This is how I really want to be. And then what are you willing to give up to have that? What can you sacrifice to have that? Now, I'm not saying give up stuff that's important to you, but I'm saying think about what would you be willing to give up to have that? What does that look like? What does that look like?
Good question.
Okay.
So I think we're like when we started this conversation, we talked about an enemy, and the enemy has attacked us on different levels, and so it's difficult to fight an enemy that sometimes she doesn't even know is an enemy. She doesn't even know that it's working against her. She doesn't know that it's hindering her. She doesn't even know it because she's been this way all the time, or this is just the way I am, or this is the way I was raised, right? And she doesn't know that it's hindering her from getting to her blessing that's waiting on her on the other side, but she can't get there because she's in her own way. So that's why I want this nature and nurture conversation to kind of create a space where we can say, okay, you want this, that, and the other. What does that look like? And how do we get there? And I bring up the term sacrifice. What you're willing to give up to have it is because you may have to give up some parts of yourself to have it. Not necessarily give up your car or your house, but you may have to give up some parts of you, some things that you have made a part of who you are that may not be healthy for you. You might have to give that up in order to get what you want. So,
such as, give me some examples.
I think we're getting away from what the question was. I'm gonna be honest with you. That wasn't the question. The question was, as far as men, what can we do?
No, that wasn't.
Right?
No, she said.
What was the question?
The question was, what do we want from women?
What do we want from women
to do
right
for
now?
us, so we don't feel disconnected from them.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't. You know, it's just what's going on.
Hey, but you can answer that question if you want.
No,
Sure.
I mean, you know,
go ahead.
You can answer
that's
question.
what I thought. Honestly, I thought that's what was the original question of why we got here. Why are we here as far as things? Because I thought that the women were going to talk about, and I'm just talking about even the question as a whole, as far as the reasons of us being here, right? Just being real, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the original reason that we came here. The men were supposed to be in this particular section to say what men can actually do, and when the women get together on Sunday, then they would nurture the women aspect. And then we come together and we can both do that. I thought that's what the original.
LaDonna
just asked the question.
Right.
Yeah, LaDonna just threw that question.
All right.
Out. Yeah,
I did.
That question is for the, Mark, if you look at, for the most part, that's what we've been doing.
I know.
Yeah.
We've been dealing with us, but she just
Yeah,
threw
we
the
have.
that question.
Yeah, we have beat y'all like a dead horse, but no.
Have you?
You-
No, we haven't. That we've been really light,
Good
but
grief.
but you're right. Like I definitely, if I did not ask that question, that's gonna be my next question. But the question that I just asked, Mark,
I
was
know what you asked. I know what you asked. I'm just talking about the purpose of the whole situation. That's all.
okay. So go ahead and ask what I asked. Answer what
Go
I
ahead.
asked.
Y'all go ahead and finish. I'm sorry, Damien. Go ahead and finish, brother.
Oh no, I'm good, bro. I mean, if ultimately our goal is what can the men do, let's get to that, because
Okay.
that's the most important thing in our call right
For
now.
us right now, yeah.
What can
Right.
the men do
There
to
we
help
go.
counteract the effects of this war on Black love? That's the overarching question that we want to answer.
That's it.
So I
Let's
get
go.
that.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. I get
Close
that.
out with that.
I was
And
just being obedient to the sister who
I know.
asked the
Hey,
question.
I'm with you. I'm with you, but
Just
I'm
being
with you,
obedient.
but I'm with you. I just think that for whatever reason, however it got that way, I think there's enough of noise of the men telling what women can do. Even if we coming from a good space right now, right?
right.
Yeah.
Right. I think
That's
it's still a lot going on inside of the psyche of a lot of women. And it would probably be refreshing to hear a group of men say, hey, this is what we're gonna do for us in order to help you
Mhm.
and be the example. Remember, set the example. That's all.
Yes. So go ahead, Mark.
Okay. Okay. So what is the question that you wanted to ask? That you
Okay,
had
so
tonight?
I want to know from your perspective,
Right.
what can Mark do as a man who loves Black women and wants
Yes, I do.
to,
Man.
to bridge the gap so that we can continue to be great and work together? What can you do as a man? What could other men do to win this war?
Okay,
Against
so one of the things I would probably say, coming just from my perspective, is understanding that one of the main qualities that women love is transparency, right?
Mm.
Starting with transparency first, right? Establishing that Mark is going to come and give you an option. This is where Mark is. Can you agree or disagree with it, right? So that's building trust, right? A lot of times transparency builds trust, right? So Mark can build trust by being transparent, right? And so at that point, then I have to walk, which is the action part, walk in a light of what I desire, right? Because how we walk sometimes may determine the path of others, right? So through action, I have to walk it by being transparent, understanding who I am dealing with at that particular time, or let's say, for instance, women in general, just giving them tools to say, to make them feel beautiful. Because one of the things that I've learned is that a lot of women don't feel beautiful, right? And the reason I can say that is because, which I'm not going to go down that road, but there are certain things, there's a fact that we've discovered out of nowhere, because I don't remember my parents doing this, but the alteration of certain things, or too much of it, or let's say too much of it, right? Reads to me that women feel that they're not beautiful. So I definitely would have to reflect and compliments, etc., and doing kinds of actions to do that. So for me, that's just a start.
Yeah,
That's just a start for me.
yeah, I'm glad that you touched on that, because that is something that Black women deal with. Like we're not just, naturally considered beautiful, the standard of beauty. You know what I'm saying? Like
By who?
I
the
think
enemy, the
everybody's
war,
copying
the
y'all.
people that's waging war on us, the media, the internet, the
While they
videos
copy
that
you.
you sent me on
While they
YouTube,
copy
all
you, though.
videos.
So it's one of those weird things where it's like, I hear you and I understand where you're coming from, but yet the standard of beauty is copying what you already have naturally. So that's why they get Botox injections. That's why they're widening their hips, getting their butts done. They're trying to make their bodies look like what your body looks like naturally. So it's hard to, while I understand what you're saying, that's not promoted that Black women are the standard of beauty. but it's definitely
Through action.
it's definitely being pushed. I mean, if you go to the airport in Atlanta in the summertime, you're gonna see a lot of wheelchairs being pushed coming out of Miami, coming out of like you're gonna see people pushing to look more like black women. So
okay, so guess what, Damon? So that should be easy for you to do what Mark just said. Tell us, let us know, because it's not in our heads. That's not what we don't hear it enough. I'll put it like that.
So that's all that he's saying. So can I offer a caveat to that though?
No, why you can't just tell us we're beautiful? I don't want to hear your reason.
I didn't say that I wasn't gonna do it. So I've agreed to do it. Okay.
Tell me I'm beautiful, Damon. Tell me,
Ms. Johnson, you're a beautiful chocolate sister, and we appreciate everything that you do. We thank you so much for this opportunity.
That is so sweet. Thank you.
Ditto.
I'm adding to what Mark said, and that is that telling a woman she's beautiful is important. It's very important that we reinforce that. A woman knowing that she's beautiful from the inside is important too. Yes. Because sometimes you could give women compliment after compliment, but if she doesn't believe it, she won't take it. She won't absorb. It's like trying to love somebody who can't accept love. It's like you're pushing and you're doing. And until they get to the point where they love themselves, they're never going to accept your love. So the same thing with the compliments. We'll compliment y'all all day long. I mean, we're going to talk about how beautiful y'all are, how fine y'all are, how smart y'all are, how funny y'all are. But if you don't see yourself that way, then those compliments kind of fall short. Ask a pretty woman that you see on the street. She gets told she's pretty all day long. It doesn't mean nothing if she don't think she's pretty. She hears it all the time. Fine women, they hear it all the time. Oh, you beautiful, you fine, you beautiful. But if she doesn't feel that, then it doesn't hit the mark.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying we're not going to do it, because me, Mark, Nye, Brother Muhammad, we have agreed that we're going to compliment black women from now on. We just want black women to believe us when we say it. When I say you're beautiful, I want you to believe it. I also want you to know that I don't have an ulterior motive besides telling that you're beautiful. I don't want nothing else but to let you know you're beautiful. That's it.
See, and it's a mixture of that, though. It's a mixture.
What happened? We hear you.
Go ahead now.
We hear you.
I'm good. Go ahead.
No, Damon went out.
He didn't.
No, I'm here.
Okay, it's a mixture of that, though, Damon. It's a mixture of people who really mean, wow, you're beautiful, and it's another one, like Brother Stanley was saying, that they have ulterior motive. They have a different intent. They just flattering because they want it. And sometimes they mistake me for that. I say hi to a girl. She be like, I got a man. I was like, I ain't asking.
Tell him I said hi too.
I'm going to go this way. Right. I just speak, and sometimes I do. I mean, but, I can take it. I ain't tripping on that. Like Mark was saying last week, you got to be the diffuser. So, fellas, when you run into an aggressive young lady, if she appears aggressive, you might have to diffuse the situation by being an example of using feminine energy. Okay. Did I say too much there? Because sometimes when they come all aggressive, like say if we come in the house all aggressive, trying to argue, and she say, baby, just calm down, have a seat. I'll fix some food for you in there. Are you gonna keep arguing all crazy and stuff? That's using feminine energy to diffuse it. But if he come in yelling at you, like, motherfucker, it's two men. It's two men.
It's fire.
Fire and fire. So, some of us men, we might have to, be the example of some of these things. Just because you use feminine energy don't make you feminine. I got daughters, I have to turn it on. You get what I'm saying? So another thing, and this is what I tell, it's this negative white dude that coming to my job all the time, saying negative stuff, and he just be spewing negative. And I say, hey man, before you talk to me, I want to hear 3 compliments about something. And I tell him that every time. And now he come in, he can get his compliments out the way before he complains. But I'm creating a habit in him to recognize good things, recognize the good things, see the God in the sisters too. You have to see the God in them. And like Brother Stanley said, if you lead and start and come from a place of love, then you done your job.
That's
How
right.
she receive it is how she receive it. But you done your job, and they'll whether they recognize it then, they'll recognize it later. You know what I'm saying? When growth is
Yeah, if they see enough of it, at some point, and not all,
they
but
gonna start
most
believing.
will actually fall in line, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, a lot of the things that women deal with, they really don't want to deal with on an everyday basis, such as paying the bills, taking care of the children, going to work, driving traffic, going through their own, nature type things. I'll just say that. You know what I mean? It's a lot. And I think what you're seeing is the frustration of having to hold that weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And I say this all the time. And like, I feel like men, sometimes you are like tired of hearing this, but like, it's the truth. Oftentimes, especially as Black women, we carry so much of the weight on our shoulders, from raising the kids, we got to go to work and we got to fight for our position at work. Where we're trying to be, good mates and things like that, and we have just so much on our shoulder that at times we might have some aggressive times. We might have some times where you need to give us a little bit of grace. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm.
It's
audio.
It's not for the shoulders, it's for the hips, the pressure.
Yeah, so it's like we have so much on us. Like if you could just give us some grace, if just a moment of grace, you will get a different reaction out of us. Especially if you're coming from a place of love and good intentions, and we have intuition that tells us, like we could tell whether a man is, giving us hey, good morning, beautiful, because they want something or because they just want to make us smile. We could tell.
If balanced. Throw that caveat in there. If balanced, you can tell. Because we just did a show. We just did a show yesterday. Yesterday was about love bombing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And one thing about love bombing, quote unquote, is that it can only work if you're from a place of depletion. So what happens is people can come in and be very deceitful when you're at your lower level or your lower state of life, right? That's when you're most vulnerable to grab on that twig, right? Whatever it is you're trying to save yourself. You're gonna brag on that twig of hope, hoping that someone can save you if you're at lower state. So I just want to add, if balanced, you definitely can tell who's the truth.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. Did everyone, Brother Stanley, I forget the question. Oh yeah, so what can the brothers do? What can the brothers do to help bridge this gap for the Black families to bring us back together?
Can I say something? And what are you doing currently for a man that's been around for 30 years?
Come on, 34.
34 years, because that's also a great tool for us to shoot for.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, I would say, based on the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as taught by the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, that you can't love anyone more than you love yourself. See, the degree I love myself, that's the degree I can love you. So if I only got 20% of love for myself, and you as a woman asking for 50%, I can't give you what I ain't got. And sometimes we go into the relationship with unrealistic expectations.
Amen. Say that.
Disney.
So that's why it's important that we go through a courtship process, which nothing is physical. Because when you get physical, it's like you're drinking and you get drunk. And when you get drunk, your judgment is impaired. And so sex impairs your judgment, who you laying down with. But then you both come into relationship with expectations of each other. But you find out after the act is over and you realize that this man don't love himself. So how can he love me? And so, so the woman is in search for love, right? But you're really in search for God,
Mm.
because really, oh man,
Come on.
women are trying to make men an adequate replacement for God, and it's not going to work.
Mm.
You can't seek validation from a man
Mm.
before you get validation from God.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, you offend the Creator. Because it's a sad thing, because a lot of times, and I'm just going with the Spirit, a lot of times these young sisters don't have a good father, and that's their first impression of a man. And that young girl gives a pure love to their father, and their father abuse it, then she's scarred. And so
Mm.
you got to be that kind of man to recognize when you have a scarred woman. And every woman has a degree of scars, and you have to be a savior to her.
Mm.
Like Jesus was to the people, you have to be like that to the woman. So when I met my wife, we was boyfriend and girlfriend. I met her on my 18th birth anniversary, November the 11th, 1988. And I was searching for a wife, because when my mother and father got divorced, it kind of polarized me away from that kind of broken family. It pained me. That was a good thing, evil leading to good. So when I first saw her in my apartment, because she was looking for her younger sister, because her younger sister hung out with my younger sister. And my wife was the finest thing in College Park, as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, come on.
And I was in weight class, brother. So I wasn't a Muslim at that time. I was studying. I was 18. She was 16. So I took my shirt off and showed my muscles, and it didn't move her. So I had to put my shirt back on.
That's hilarious. You like a peacock.
Right. I felt stupid. But when I got downstairs, I was thinking, I said, well, what can I do to get her to come downstairs so I can start talking to her? Right. And so I knocked on the coffee table as though someone was knocking at the door, because my younger sister, I know she was kind of lazy, and she would send the newest person at the house, can you go get the door? And when she came downstairs, I said, what's your name? She said, did you hear the door? I said, no, what's your name? She said, Ruth. I was eating some orange, and she sat down and she ate some orange with me, and we started talking. We had a beautiful conversation.
Man,
When
you
here
full of
comes my
tricks, ain't you?
older sister. You gotta use them.
I'm
Here
taking
come my
notes.
older sister.
Hey, they gave you 34 years. I'm taking notes.
Right. And my older sister was so upset. Take out the garbage. Because she, for some reason, she didn't like what she saw. She didn't like to see me sitting down and we having a good conversation. Maybe because she didn't have a relationship.
Mm.
And so hating big time. So back then, we didn't have no home phone. We were poor. She was poor. I was poor. And so all we had was a telephone booth. So we had a pocket full of quarters. So she had the phone number to the phone booth at Laundromat in Union City. I had one in my apartment complex. So we exchanged phone booth numbers.
Wow.
That's
We
awesome.
said, but at this certain time, on this day, I'm going to call you.
Mm.
So I get to the phone booth, and there's a brother at the phone. About 2 minutes before it's time for me, hey, yo, bro, I got to make an important call. And then he got off the phone. We put in the quarters and whatnot. We talked for hours, right? But what I discovered is that she had some pain. And the pain came from her past relationship. She was abused. And I had to make a decision as a man.
Yeah.
Do I love this woman more than her pain? See, and love is selfless. That's very important to understand, because if I was self-centered, so I ain't putting up with this crap. But when you love someone, you gotta say, wait a minute, what's wrong with my baby? What can I do to help her? And one day we was walking, and I realized her pain. To the degree I knew that she had some serious pain. And it was late at night. We was walking in Union City. I said, look, you know I'm your angel? She said, angel? Let me hurry up and get up out of here. But I realized, right, that I was willing to go through whatever I have to go through to show her how much I love her. And I had to grow in love with God and grow in love with myself in order to help her. And I was willing to deny and give up things in my life to make her better. Because I could not make her better if I was not willing to be better. Because a man's a leadership. So I had to give up drinking. I had to give up the things I was doing in the world. And the more I gave it up, the more she actually became submissive, the more I was able to help heal her from the scars of her past. So what I'm saying is that I realized in the 34 years of marriage, and we've been together since 1988, we've been together longer than we was married. I realized that the more I became more like God and less like the world, the more I became the moral authority. That's all she wanted. I realized that the real wealth was my character. Wow. I had to make money because the nature of a woman is to be made secure. And the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan, not going to let no brother lay around and let some woman take care of him. No, he's not going to let that.
He said no.
We had to take care of that woman. I give her money. See, I take care of her. She don't take care of me. And my wife has not worked in almost 34 years. And I bought her a home that she owns. Her name is on, not my name. Ain't no mortgage, paid for. And the value's going up. Because a woman that gives you 9 children, she dies for you 9 times. Because the pain of giving birth to a child is equal to the pain of death when the body shuts down, as we're taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So a woman who dies for you to project you into the future that you can have eternal life. That's you all over again. Look just like you, walk like you, act like you. She went through the pain and paid the price for you and I to have life again. So the way the messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan made us see it, it made me say that there's nothing too good for her. And so the car got her name on it. See? And everything that I can do, I'm trying to pay my debt to God and to the beautiful wife that he gave me. They allowed me to live 9 times. I got 9 lives, y'all.
Hey, more than that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You know?
That's beautiful.
And so it's my attitude, right? That I look at the little difficulty she gives me. I said, well, let me compare it to the good that she done. It makes the difficulty sink in the sea of insignificance. So I laugh it off. And I tell her, I said, baby, you know I love you. You know you're crazy. And she started laughing.
She just said she want to have your baby over and over again.
and she ain't lying neither. But the thing is, brothers, the thing is, brothers, is that. But the thing is that when she was in the world, guess what her name was? Shotty Pimp.
What?
She was a pimp?
Shotty Pimp.
That was your nickname.
Oh, that was her name. I was Glide Rock because I broke, doing the break dance and all that. And she was Shotty Pimp. But let me share this with you.
That's
funny. Farrakhan got us from the world.
Mm.
And from Shotty Pimp to Sister Ruth Muhammad, from Glide Rock to Brother Stanley Muhammad.
Come on.
And he put me in a classroom that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad established to turn a nigger into a god.
Mm.
And put her in a classroom how to turn a nigger into a god. And then, look, she started learning. She started learning how to cook the right kind of food. She started learning how to take care of her husband, how to rear her children, how to cook, how to sew. I'm talking about cook to give you health, not death, because the kitchen is your pharmacy as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So the man got little myopia, he got bad eye. You got to put some carrot fluff, he got kidney problem, put some cranberries in his salad. See, she knows the science of food. Now we talking about how we get to be a woman that's uncivilized to become civilized. She got to come into a classroom of God.
Your wife said,
and there is a classroom of God. And when you look at the women of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, those women called the MGT, you can see that they have been reformed.
Oh yeah, they don't play.
And redeemed. And then when you look at the children ain't no dumb children.
Mm-mm.
See, you can't see nothing when you see my wife. You can't see that. I mean, if you don't know how fine she is, that's only for me.
She did say those are our secrets, though.
She said her shorty pimp nickname was y'all secret. She ain't now all your kids, all your children are out there like, I didn't believe this. My mama was who? They going crazy in the comments.
Yeah, but no, I agree. It's something about that the FOI class and the MGT. I didn't graduate from MGT class, but I almost made it to the end.
I didn't quite get I didn't quite get registered either. I was close. Hey, but I'm gonna say this: while I was there, I have never seen, like she said, I have never ever seen not one place, because I grew up in the hood, right? I have never seen a place that turned a hood nigga to a god in a month. I mean, it was tattoos. I was like, if you wasn't here, I know for sure you probably be trying to get me at the gas station or something. But they was in the Nation of Islam teaching, man. It was beautiful. Right. I've never seen that before in my life. I commend y'all on that. Keep up the great work. We need more like it.
And I want to close on this because I think it's important, because we love the fruit, but we can't reject the tree that produced it. Don't ever let the enemy cause you to disrespect the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. They are the tree that produced these wonderful brothers and sisters who represent the best of yourself. We love you, and we are here to be an example for you. I have not, boy, I tell you, I used to eat the pork. I ate chitlins, y'all.
Oh.
When I was in the world, I ate chitlins. Boy, I ate the Burger King and the suicide fries. The little Debbie cakes. I ate all that. I had acne all on my face, and I was only 18 years old, and I was drinking. I was on my way to be alcoholic. I used to drink gin and grapefruit juice. Got kicked out of a lot of my schools, and I went to a school downtown at 5 Points on top of the richest department store. My school was on the top floor of the richest department store by 5 Points, and we used to go on lunch break and get drunk and come back and terrorize the school. But when I joined the Nation of Islam, my face cleared up, and I just being among the brothers, God took away the appetite to drink. So I can honestly say I have not taken a drink in 35 years.
Wow.
I haven't eaten meat. I've been a vegetarian for 34 years. No chicken, no beef, no nothing. By God's grace. But I never thought I can have that kind of discipline, brothers. But when God put me in that classroom, I never wore a suit before. I was a B-boy. I wore sweatsuits and fat shoestrings and, you know, back then. But the brothers wearing suits, I said, how they do that? I don't know how to wear a suit. They said, we'll teach you, brother. And there was brothers in there that helped make me a man. And we're not men until we're men of God. And that means men of God just means be true to your nature. Our nature is freedom, justice, equality, and righteousness, and doing the will of God, which equals love. And when I got in that classroom, my wife saw me grow from Glide Rock to Stanley Muhammad.
That's beautiful.
And so my children never seen an absentee father.
That's
by
right.
God's grace. And so, and I'll tell you this, my wife is beautiful, right? But you don't see her physical beauty, because let me tell you about the way God structured the earth. All its treasures are hidden. The gold, the diamonds, everything precious is covered. And so when a woman respects herself, see, she covers.
She hide them treasures.
Yeah, Shorty Pimp caused accidents on Old National Highway.
Oh God!
I'm being honest, she did.
Yeah,
and she did.
Look,
But when she met the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? She covered because I was the only one that was worthy to extract those treasures because I was working for it. Because a man that maintains a woman, he got to have some kind of benefit. That how you want everybody else see your woman's embellishments? Because when your woman shows her embellishment, who let the dogs out? You did.
You
by showing your peekaboo and showing.
Brother Muhammad, before I forget,
and then you're gonna have to say all men are dogs.
Hey, brother Muhammad, hey, just for me real quick, man. Can you bust out a glide rock move for us for the last time?
Hey, they used to call me Turbo.
No, but you know what? Hey, look, brother, I went from. Hey, look.
I want to see glide rock.
Breakdancing, right? It faded out. I hate it when it faded out because I was, you know, Jermaine Dupri. I went to school with him and his manager, Eddie. And I was one of the best break dancers in school.
I mean, you guys a wave or something. Give us a wave.
But look, I went from that to rapping. Because all the break dancers died out and we became rappers. I can bust a rhyme for you.
Hey, yeah, your daughter said rap one of those songs, Dad.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
This is Donna, with your permission, this is your show.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. It's called Who Is That Mystery God?
Okay.
Who is that mystery God the world's looking for? The one who never heard your cry in a time of war. Who is the mystery God you put in your faith in? The one that's supposed to give you the kingdom and crush the sin. Does he bring your bread and clothe your back? Does it heal your pains and take you off crack? I want to know about my Father and Creator. The mystery God indeed a spook perpetrator. You tell the truth to your own kind. But when it comes to mine, you keep them dumb and blind. The harvest is past. the summer's ended. We're still not saved. So Farrakhan is recommended by the true and living God. His proper name is Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Faraz. You got
Hey, you
Hey,
have
that's
now.
good enough.
You have now graced your ears with the songs from Glide Rock. He's back for one night.
Glide Rock.
Go ahead,
Glide
DJ.
The
So
pop blocker.
that was
And I'm
that
DJ
was
Sticky
what
Lips.
that was my rapping days, and
I like
I
that.
just want to say, Sister Donna, this is a beautiful dialogue, and these brothers are definitely, I see God in each and every one of them, and I see God in you, and the spirit of Allah, God, is upon this show, this podcast, and I just want to say that, you know, brothers, what we need to do is, if we develop the attributes of God, Allah, by being a part of a righteous brotherhood. Now, there's a niggerhood and a brotherhood. Now, we know what the niggerhood is about. You know, you go, come on, man, smoke, man. You know, you my nigga, so, you know, I'll give you smoke, let's drink, let's hang out. But we killing our lungs. We killing we're killing the gifts of God. That's what I was doing. But when I got a part of the brotherhood, we studied the word together. We fed the poor together. Not just physically food, but spiritual food, the Final Call newspaper. You know, we did acts of kindness, and we prayed together. And when we begin to pray, brothers, we actually start developing the attributes and the characteristics of God. Then the women start saying, wait a minute. She'll start seeing God in you. She'll bow mentally. And guess what? Anything that God says do, she'll do it coming from your mouth, because she sees that you practicing what you preach. And she starts seeing God in you. See, her nature is to equal herself up to God. She see you praying, she gonna stop praying. She see you fasting, she gonna stop fasting.
Yeah.
She see you stop cussing, she gonna stop cussing. But she needs to find a man that's worthy to actually submit herself to. But she's not submitting herself to you, but she's submitting herself to God that's in you. And guess what? Then you, by developing the attributes of God and me developing the attributes of God, when she submits to God in us, she raises the level of civilization. And as a result, guess what? She started teaching the children those principles. But it started with you. That's why I said, let us make man. See, we can't point at the woman. We got to look at ourselves, because we busy talking about what the woman ain't doing. Where do we have time to develop? The Honorable Minister Farrakhan says self-development is the basis of community development. See, I got to look at me, look at the man in the mirror, as MJ said, and make that change, right? And then that's when my wife, the more I learned that I was giving up bad habits and growing closer to Allah, my wife started respecting and loving me more. And the things I didn't like about her, guess what? It disappeared. It disappeared. And I'm gonna tell you this, brothers. I feel like a god in my home sometimes. As a sometimes. I'm working on all the
That balance.
I'm working on all the time, and I'm not trying to make myself. It's not me. It's what God have made me through the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Honorable Minister Farrakhan. See, and I want to read something, and I want to close this out. My portion, and Sister LaDonna, but Honorable Minister Farrakhan. You know, he did a lecture, A Few Good Men, and I want to just read. The minister did a lecture called A Few Good Men, and I want to just share a few of his words with you, if I may. Not long, but I want to read the principles of what he said. And then he says there's 3 stages of good. And he said, surely Allah enjoins justice and the doing of good to others, and the giving to the kindred, and he forbids indecency and evil and rebellion. He admonishes you that you may be mindful. Holy Quran, chapter 16, verse 90.
Mm.
In the above verse, Allah God is trying to tell us what his yardstick is for measuring who is good. Now, there are a lot of people who are good to you, but who are not good because we don't use the yardstick that God uses. Hypocrites can look good and even do some good that affects good, but they are not good people. Isn't that something? There are 3 different degrees of goodness. The first degree or lower stage of goodness is the fulfillment of duties and obligations. For example, a man who brings home his paycheck and gives it to his wife and gets some food for the children, that is good, but there are only a few good men. If you have a wife, your duty is to maintain her. Unfortunately, she is the hard worker today, and she is maintaining us. Not so good. A woman cannot honor a man that she is taking care of.
Their
Men
child.
who makes babies and walks away is not good. Is that good? And pardon me. I watch dogs and cats and lower animals take care of their young. I watch animals fight to protect their young. We don't see too much of that among us. So some of us haven't even gotten on the ladder to being one of the few good men. And the duty you have to yourself, you violate that duty to yourself when you smoke, drink, and eat the wrong foods because you are destroying the body that God gave to you. That is not good. The second stage of goodness is the doing of good where man has received no visible benefit. There are a lot of people whose apparent acts of good are tainted by ill motivation.
Yeah.
When you do good in places where you don't even think that you are going to get a benefit, you are ascending the ladder towards becoming one of the few good men. The last or highest stage of goodness is that in which a man's nature is so inclined to good that he doesn't have to make an effort to do good. He does good to all people because his nature is good. When God made man in his own image and after his own likeness and said that it was very good, then he made us with a nature to do good, not to seek a benefit, because the God who created us in his image does not seek some benefit from us. The only thing it seems that he requires is gratitude. Our gratitude is not for his benefit, because he is God, whether we are grateful or not. He preserves the heavens and the earth, and it tires him not. There is nothing you can give him because he was God before you even knew him. So if you praise him and are grateful to him, that is a blessing for you. In the Quran, Holy Quran, Allah God says over and over again, surely man is ungrateful because Allah God hates ingratitude, and humility should always precede honor because God dislikes people who seeks exaltation before submission. So I wanted to share that, brothers. Thank y'all very
Thank
much. Thank you,
you.
Sister Lagana.
Man, thank you for coming, big brother.
Thank
Thank
you, my
you.
brother.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
brother.
much for joining, Brother Stanley.
Where's my
Any
audience clap button? I ain't at home, man.
Yes, clap, but I
Brother
don't believe
Stanley,
too far time.
let the people know how to reach you. I know you and your wife do couples counseling. You do individual counseling for men. So how can they find you?
Well, you all can reach me. My email address is aysavp@gmail.com. And you can email me if you would like marriage counseling, relationship counseling. If you want to learn more about the courtship procedure, which is the prelude to marriage, not boyfriend and girlfriend, but you got to have the intentions to marry if you want to court. And we'll be more than happy to share that courtship manual that has been approved by the Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan. And so we love you all. And I want to tell you, I enjoyed myself on the show. I tell you, each and every one of you have watered my soul, brothers. And I've learned so much from each and every one of you, Sister Donna. You are definitely a jewel in God's crown.
Thank you.
And you keep up the good work, sister. We're proud of you, and you have grown spiritually so tremendous. I remember her from how many years have we known each other, Sister?
Oh my
Donna?
gosh.
You
I
and Brother
think
Sadie Kiefer.
so little Sadi was about 5 and he's 20 now. So
A
15.
long time, and I have seen you grow by leaps and bounds, and this show is perfect for you. And I can't wait till Sunday.
Yes.
Hey.
I'm excited.
Hey, bro, thank you for coming through and all your family in the chat. We appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you,
The
brother.
whole
Thank you.
Muhammad family was here. Thank you. Thank y'all so much for joining. Okay, Nye, how can the
Allahu
people?
Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. That's right.
Hey.
Okay, Nye, tell the people how to reach you with the projects, what you got going on.
Oh yeah, you can find me on well, I'm on all the social media, but Instagram, the projects THE_projects44. Follow me, I'll follow you right back. Check out the content. And I'm Not a Great on Facebook, so just reach out. You want me to host some events, or we can collab on a couple other things. You need some healing physically.
Yes,
Hey,
Nye
brother
is
Nye.
a healer. Thank you, Nye. All right, Mark.
Okay, you can find me on actually you can find me on all platforms, Date Night Online. Just wanted to kind of touch on something real quick. Mr. Muhammad said that, Brother Muhammad was actually saying is that I agree with. The first step of getting married, you have to date. You have to gather that information. Then the courting session is next, right? So you use that actual information you use from dating in order to apply during the courting stages so you can have a successful marriage. So guess what we do on date night? It is a learning tool to actually show accountability, right? It's about accountability first here on my particular platform. So my platform is an open platform. I allow just the everyday average, when I mean average, everybody's above average, but you don't have to be a counselor, dating coach, or anything. If you want to come on my platform, it's a way so that you can actually kind of let some steam off, and we can kind of talk about where you are in dating and whatnot. And guess what? I learned as well. So it's Date Night Online on Facebook and also on YouTube and Rumble.
Hey.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Thank
brother.
you. Damon.
Yes, ma'am. I am rebranding a podcast called The Thing About Us. It is of real people having real conversations about real relationships, kind of the same kind of format, but the difference is that I want everyday people to talk about their experiences and talk about how we can find some solutions to some of these relationship issues that we're having. So I'm doing a rebrand right now. It is open, but I like to bring people on. So all you all are welcome when we relaunch the new show to come in and talk about topics. I do have topics for each show. And so we're going to talk about specific things that are ailing us, that are in the way of us getting to healthy relationships. And it's not just romantic relationships, because I feel like at the core of a lot of our romantic relationship problems are other relationship problems that we're just rolling them over into our romantic lives. So, and it's on all platforms. It's The Thing About Us podcast on Instagram and Facebook. That's the best way to reach me. I respond, I sleep on my phone. So, whenever you send me something, I might respond to you back at 3 a.m. But I look forward to growing this platform. I love the conversation today. I hope that we do more of this. This has been good. It took me back to my college days.
Hey.
That's awesome.
Beautiful,
Awesome.
beautiful.
LaDonna, where can we find you?
You can find me at Smart Love
My
Inc.
show right here.
It's me. So we're going to continue this series. So part 2 is going to be on Sunday with the ladies. I'm super excited. We're going to have Sister Ruth come on and give us some guidance. So this is going to be a great conversation with the ladies. And then I want to bring us back together, the women, the men, and we're going to talk through the solutions together.
Beautiful.
I'm really excited. That's usually our most fun conversations when we have
Yeah,
it
it is. When we come
Right.
together.
together. Yeah, so I'm really excited. And that will be next Thursday when we all come back together. But
Beautiful.
yes, follow me on all the platforms, Smart Love Inc. Thanks everyone so much
Thank you.
for joining. This was so fun. I feel like we learned so much.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is very
All right.
informative.
And you
Yeah,
know,
I
and
enjoyed
also next week when we get together, and everybody who's actually watching, this is the beginning of how to disarm the situation in the gender war, right?
Right.
Us
Right.
being separate in our corner, you guys corner, and then we're going to show you how it would look if we just emulate these 3 steps.
That's right.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
God.
Good job to the mom. That's right.
That's what who just
All
texted me
right, they said they
polygamy? I'm
can't
gonna bust
wait.
y'all.
And
Oh yeah, that's gonna be dope.
yeah. Yeah, we're gonna continue conversations like this, and I really appreciate my few good men here. This
Well, wait
really
a minute. I don't know. I feel weird about you calling me that now because he went over his list and I quite didn't. I'm just playing. I'm working towards
we all striving, brother.
Yeah, you got to work on
Right,
you
we
got to
all
work on your
striving,
rapping
my
skills,
brother.
man. Work
Yeah,
on your rapping skills,
I
man.
only can
Now I went from breakdancing to rapping to now poetry.
Right,
Oh,
there it
okay,
is.
well, that's, you
Yeah,
had
so
to put
I
it
got
somewhere.
Yeah, my wife is named Ruth, right? And so if you read in the Bible, there's a whole book called the Book of Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
And Boaz became her knight in shining armor. So
She
my
called you
poetry name is
Boaz.
Boaz.
She did
Yeah,
call
You
you
She
Boaz.
called you
Your
Boaz
Boaz.
a couple
Right,
times in the
right.
comments. So
yeah. And so now I got a black book called the Book of Ruth. So I got a whole bunch of poems that I wrote to her. So
okay,
that's
now
another way.
brother
Another
Muhammad,
way.
brother
34
Muhammad.
years.
Now
34
listen,
years poetry.
don't get too romantic tonight and be on number 10. Now this
This man
no,
crazy.
you saying romantic stuff to your wife on the chat.
Well,
You know,
we about to celebrate our 34th anniversary, brother. You know.
Oh, it's lovely. It's about
That's amazing. That's
I love
amazing.
it.
That's
I love
beautiful,
it.
bro.
I love it.
Yeah. We
Congratulations.
can't
Make sure
wait.
I get an invite to the anniversary party. I would love to see everybody.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. But thank y'all very much. May God continue to bless you all. Have a peaceful
Appreciate you,
night's
brother.
rest and a happy morning's rise. And
Man,
I
so
love
good
this
having you.
conversation. And assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Walaikum
salam, big
salam.
brother.
Salam, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Peace.
Don't hang up. Dang, he done hung up.
Did I? Oh.